Happy New Year! From all of us at the Rose Center, we wish you a happy turning from 2020 to 2021. I'm Dr. Jen, and I have a New Year's message for you of mental health. Normally, we do Monday messages of mental health, and I hope you continue to check those out. But every year, we like to have a special New Year's message. And in that New Year's message, we like to come up with some sort of intention or focus for our mental health in the year to come. So in the past, we've had, let's see, we've had spark positivity, we've had taking a deep dive, we've had joy farming. That was a particularly popular one. So this year is interesting because it's been such a strange year in 2020 that really I think very few of us were able to follow whatever our intentions were that we set in January, because kind of the whole world erupted in a way we didn't expect back in January. So when I look at now what I see in 2020, it's just a lot of separation. That would be the word I would choose if I had to choose a word for 2020. And a separation from people, obviously, right? So we were sheltering in place, we weren't able to travel, we weren't able to see family and friends the way we normally do. So that's an obvious separation. But there was more than that. There was also a separation from certainty of how life was going to go and what was going to happen in the future, right? And there was a separation from our purpose for some of us, our jobs, and how we run our lives, and what is important to us, and how we are focusing our time. There was a separation from that for a lot of people. So a separation of purpose, a separation from stability, because the world became unstable. Now, frankly, the world is really always uncertain and unstable to a big degree, but usually there are things that we can count on more in the immediate sense. And 2020 was just rife with a lot of instability, whether we're talking about the pandemic, whether we're talking about politically, whether we're talking about the climate, whatever it is, and the confluence of all those things, there was just a lot of instability. So separation from stability, and then a separation from desire for a lot of people, that the things that you want to do and how you want to run your life was interrupted, and was interrupted in a way that you weren't choosing. So there was also a separation from choice. A lot was given to us or forced upon us for very good reasons, but not for reasons that we necessarily chose. We didn't choose to batten down our hatches, right? Individually choose to batten down our hatches and be with friends and family only in our household. And we didn't choose to have a nail biting political climate for the year. These were things that happened to us, and we adjusted and we pivoted, and sometimes for the better. So don't mistake me. I'm not saying 2020 was a wash of unhappiness, but if I had to come up with a word, it would be separation. Now, often what happens with that separation is that it allows other things to come up that had been hidden or hadn't had the chance to shine. And so often what you'll find is that, ironically, separating from your life as you know it can be a really great time to build and to rekindle or find things for the first time that you want to be doing with your time, with your life, with your purpose, and where your passions are going to flow. And so what you find is that there's a lot of seed uh, planting, just like the little kernels of potential that come up while you are managing all of the separation and stress. So, if separation is the word for 2020, then my word for you for 2021 is connection. So, the intention I'm setting is to craft connection. So, what does connection crafting mean? In this sense, it means the obvious. So, one of the things we were forced to do again in 2020 was to find different ways to connect with people, not only that physical connection. I particularly found that to be very useful. I am a extroverted person. I love the energy of being around people. And I thought I would be the kind of person who would crumble under this many months of not being around people. If you had asked me in January last year, I would say, oh no, that would be horrible. I can't even imagine how I would survive that. But of course, I survived it. But not only did I survive it, I also really loved elements of it. I really loved being able to find different ways to connect with people. And what I learned is you don't have to physically be in the same space in order to feel that connection. And so 2021, we want to really build on that. How are the different ways that you can connect with people? Maybe you did a lot more reading in 2020 and you realize a lot more of what's happening in the world beyond you, or because of the pandemic hitting every country, that maybe it gave you an sort of more of an exterior view of not just your own world that you live in, but the world around people, the world of people around you. And in 2021, how can you continue that? How can you connect with people all around the world? How can you connect with people who need things? How can you connect with people who are just lovely and are going to feed and nourish you? All the different ways that you can connect with people in that sense, that social sense, all about 2021. But that's only one type of connection, and 2021 is all about connecting in general. So let's talk about a couple of other ways that I mean connection. So first of all, connecting to your body. What does your body need to feel at its best? How can you nourish your body? And that's a little different way of looking at, I want to get fit, I want to get super fit, I want to lose weight, I want to wear a bikini, I want to have muscles, I want to, all the other things that you might have had goals in the past. This is much more about how can you connect with your body so that you really listen to what it is that your body needs. It might be the same as whatever you would be doing normally for fitness and for nourishment, but it might be different. And it might actually mean that you make some changes, and the changes are going to be based on that connection of listening and figuring out what it is that your body needs the most. Same thing spiritually. So you might already feel like you have great spiritual connections, whether it's a formalized religion, whether it's an informal connection. The idea is, how can you build on that and think outside the box and connect in different ways to the larger picture, to the source of all love and being and peaceful wisdom, and to be able to find different ways to sort of push yourself and challenge yourself and connect with little feelers that go out in other areas. And the same thing with your job. So again, you might feel satisfied with your job, but you never want to just rest on your laurels. You always want to see, how can I grow even more? So in your occupations or your jobs or your vocations or your passions or your ways you spend your time, the way you give back to society and the way you use your special skills, whatever they are there different ways that you can connect with those skills and those talents, different ways to use them, different ways to connect them to others and to other needs and services. So that's that. And then also connecting through art. So whether it's playing music or listening to more music, or whether it is viewing more art, or whether it is creating more art yourself, even if you don't consider yourself a very artistic person, how can you connect artistically? And with reading, how can you connect with reading all the amazing things that are out there and learning new things and connecting to this source of knowledge that we have in our country? How can you, not only in our country, in our world, how can you connect in more with knowledge and with learning? So these are all the ways when we think about connecting, it's not just about connecting with people, but connecting with all of these areas. Oh, and I forgot the biggest one, not the biggest one, the biggest one in my heart, which is connecting to nature. I know I talk about it quite a bit, but being outside at all times of year and all weather patterns, and really just connecting in with our original source of all life. And so how can you really enjoy that in different ways and be more mindful and connecting? So when you're out and you're crafting your connections in all of these ways, be mindful of them and really kind of take note of what feels good, what works, what doesn't feel like it's as connecting for you. Don't connect based on what other people are doing. Other people are great for ideas, so, and inspiration, all of which is good, but you never want to force a connection because someone else is telling you to, because it will never be authentic. You want it to come from you. You want to try out lots of different things, experiment, and then really pay attention to the connections that feel the best. So that is what I wish for all of you in 2021. I hope you have a great year of connection crafting and that you enjoy the process. Happy New Year from all of us at the Rose Center for Learning.